Hello everyone, this is Andrew again with Garthakian Gaming, and today I'm going to show you guys some quick tips on how to properly mount a figure onto an object so that it's easier to hold on to while you're painting it. First of all, the reason you would want to do this is because when you're holding a figure, such as this figure here, and you're trying to just hold on to the base, you don't have a whole lot of room to hold on to, and so it can get a little precarious. Like if you're trying to turn the figure while you're painting, you might have to be constantly rotating your wrist around, and it just gets a little awkward after a while you're trying to do that. The other reason you would want to do this is because your hands and your fingers sometimes get a little oily, and so if you're handling the figure and you accidentally touch the figure itself, you can get some of that oil off of your skin onto the model, and that can have negative effects with your paints or washes or whatever you're doing. Also, if your figure happens to still be wet, either you're doing some wet blending and the paint's still wet, or you're putting a wash on and you accidentally touch it, you can end up getting fingerprints in your paint job. So this is a really good way to avoid that. And for the first method I'm going to show you is for either a figure that's already on a base, or if you're painting a base separate from the figure itself. What you'll want to do for that is get an old paint pot like this one here and some blue tack. And blue tack you can pick up pretty much anywhere that sells office supplies. And it's very inexpensive, and even if you get paint and stuff on it, it still works really well. As you can see, this stuff's a little bit dirty. It's not perfectly blue anymore. So all you do is you just take a little bit of this, you just tear off a piece about like that, will be fine. Then you put it on the top of the pot here and push it down nice and flat. And then you just take your figure and make sure you push down, not like really hard. You don't want to break the base. And then if you want, you can just get in there in the middle and push down. Just like that. And now you have something else to hold on to. You can hold on to the paint pot, which is a little more comfortable than trying to hold on to just the base itself. And you can easily spin this around while you're painting. I even do this when I'm priming the model. You can see there's some paint around the top of the lid here. That way I can just hold on to this and I can rotate this and spin the model that way. So, like I said, this technique is best for a figure that you've already put onto a base, such as this, or if you are painting a base separate from the model. You can just put the base down there, and then you can prime this really quick, and then you can hold on to this while you're painting the base, so you're not holding on to the edges of the base, and like I said, accidentally getting fingerprints or getting oil onto your figure or base. So that's the first technique. It's pretty simple. It's finding like these paint pots now. They don't make, GW doesn't put their paints in these pots anymore, but you can use something similar. You don't have to use paint pots, obviously. So yeah, that's the first technique. The second technique is using cork, just a cork like this. And this technique is used if you're painting a figure in separate parts. As you can see, this guy I plan to paint, I plan to paint his weapon and shield separate from him so that they're not in the way. This technique is also good for, like I said earlier, if you're painting a figure separate from its base, so it's not in the way of the base, you can put the figure on the cork. And for this, what you'll need to do is put a pin into the figure or the part that you're going to be painting, like this. I'll just put a pin into his wrist there for his shield. And then you just take the cork and you just push the pin down into the cork like that. So now you can hold on to this, which is, it feels comfortable, and the cork's very lightweight, so it doesn't add a lot of extra weight to what you're trying to hold onto. And you can turn it any way you need to. And then also here is a figure I've been working on, and I've just drilled two holes into the bottom of her feet, and then put pins into the bottom of each foot, and then push the figure down onto the cork. Now when you do this technique, you can see, like you see here, I have a really long pin in there, and I'm obviously not going to use that full length of pin when I finally put this figure together fully. But the reason you want a nice long pin is you want that pin to go relatively far down into the cork itself. That way it's anchored really well, because if it's really shallow, then what you'll notice while you're painting, you'll be pushing against the part a little bit, and it can move. The pin can move around in the cork there. So yeah, that's just some really quick tips on how you can mount your figure onto something so that it's easier to paint, easier to hold on to, and you avoid touching the figure while you're painting it. So I hope these tips will help you guys out, and stay tuned for more videos like this, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.